Okay, so what on earth could a 2,000-year-old philosophical text from ancient India possibly have in common with our modern understanding of the Big Bang? It sounds like a total stretch, right? Well, in this explainer, we're going to uncover a really startling parallel in logic that connects a profound ancient insight about reality with the very foundations of modern cosmology.
So here's our game plan. First, we're going to journey back a couple of millennia to unpack this ancient idea of a single, unified reality. Then, we'll leap forward to the frontiers of physics, where you'll see scientists are on a surprisingly similar quest. After that, we're going to build the bridge connecting these two worlds. And finally, we'll uncover the elegant math that shows this is way more than just a coincidence.
Our journey kicks off with a philosophical concept, one rooted in the Vaisheshika school of Hindu philosophy. We're talking about a single, incredibly powerful line from a text that's over 2,000 years old.
And the logic here is it's so beautifully elegant. What this ancient text is arguing is that if you could strip away everything that makes one thing different from another, its color, its shape, its texture, you aren't left with nothingness. No. You're left with a single, unified concept, pure existence itself, one being.
And this is the core idea we're chasing, bhāvaḥ, a single, undivided reality. But to really get how the sutra reaches this incredible conclusion, we first have to understand its logic. And it all starts with this idea of a marker.
So, the first piece of this puzzle is the idea of a linga. Now think of it as a sign, a property, or a label. It's the little tag your mind uses to say, hey, this is a tree, and that over there is a rock. It's the very basis for how we tell things apart.
The philosopher argues that the quality of just existing, what they call sat, is a universal linga. Everything that is shares in this quality of being. It's the one common property that unites everything, and it doesn't, in itself, have any special features that separate one thing from another.
And this brings us to the flip side of that coin, Vaisheshika. These are the specific markers, the particulars, the really unique properties that give an object its own identity. The greenness of a leaf, the roughness of a stone, the charge of an electron. These are all different kinds of Vaisheshika.
And this brings us to the final brilliant step in the logic. The sutra basically says, let's do a thought experiment. What if you remove all the specific, distinguishing markers, all the Vaisheshika? What are you left with? The answer isn't a void. It's a single, undifferentiated foundation. Bhāvaḥ, one being. Now, hold that thought.
Let's jump to our second section and fast forward about 2,000 years. Because it turns out that modern physics, using its own language of math and experiment, is on an almost identical quest for a single, underlying principle of reality.
Cosmology tells us a story that, believe it or not, starts in the exact same place. At the very beginning, the Big Bang, the universe was a singularity, a single, unified state where nothing could be told apart. There were no distinguishing marks. But then, just a trillionth of a second later, the universe cooled and things started to change. Forces split apart. Particles suddenly got properties like mass. Distinctions literally emerged from unity. And the result is the complex, diverse universe we see today, all from a starting point of perfect oneness.
And this search for unity, it is the holy grail of modern physics. It's the dream of a unified field theory. We've even seen it happen. At extreme energies, two of nature's fundamental forces actually merge into one. Their distinguishing features just vanish. This idea even goes down to particles themselves. Every single electron is perfectly, fundamentally identical to every other electron. They have no unique individual markers. Physics keeps finding unity hiding underneath all the diversity.
Okay, so we have this ancient philosophical principle and a modern scientific one, and they really seem to be walking down the same path. So now it's time to build that bridge and see just how deeply they connect.
This is it. This is the heart of it all. On the left, you've got the ancient logic. Remove the distinguishing marks, the Vaisheshika linga, and you're left with one being, bhāvaḥ. Now look at the right, modern physics. Remove the distinguishing properties, like mass and charge before the universe cooled, and you are left with a unified, symmetric state. The underlying reasoning isn't just similar, it's identical.
Think of it this way. What physicists today call properties, things like mass and charge, They are the modern version of the philosopher's linga, those distinguishing marks. When these properties popped into existence in the early universe, they created all the distinctions and complexity where, before, there was only a single unified whole.
Now, you might be thinking, okay, that's a beautiful metaphor, a really neat philosophical parallel, but the connection is actually so much deeper. This idea of a single, unified state has a direct, tangible representation in the language of physics, in mathematics.
Let's use the language of math. Entropy is basically a measure of complexity. It's the number of possible ways a system can be arranged. A messy room has high entropy. A perfectly tidy room has low entropy. So what about a reality that is perfectly unified, that state of bhāvaḥ? How many different ways can it be arranged? Well, just one. It's already perfect. In Boltzmann's famous equation for entropy, that means the key number, W, is 1. So what happens when you plug 1 into the equation and calculate the natural log of 1?
You get 0. A big, round 0. The entropy of a perfectly unified state is 0. And this isn't just a number. It means this state is one of perfect order. It's a state of zero information, of pure, featureless potential. It's a place where no distinctions can possibly be made because there's only one way for it to be. It is the mathematical description of bhāvaḥ.
So, after this journey from an ancient sutra all the way to the edge of the Big Bang, we find the exact same core logic. Unity is what's left when you take away all distinction. And this leaves us with a pretty profound question. If two of humanity's greatest tools for understanding, philosophy and physics, independently draw the exact same map of our origin, what does that really tell us about the ultimate nature of reality?